Okay, this is a test. I went ahead and changed out my mic. So I'm testing it with a new mic now. Hopefully the quality is good, making sure there's no static. So we're just doing the test right now. Normally this is not midday, but shout out to Rizal_V. Also, I'm gonna try to go live tonight. Later on tonight, I'm gonna try to go live. It depends on how I'm feeling. I'm a little bit tired now. I got 3 meetings back to back coming up. I had a call earlier today, so we'll see. Hopefully I'm feeling okay. And my son, man, love my son, but he's a handful. He's a handful. He's sleeping right now, but he can get up at any time. And then he'll steal this show. So yeah, just hit 1 if the audio and video is good. Hit 1 if the audio and video is good. Just let me know. Everything good? Okay. All right, hold on 1 second. All right. Also, let me know if I'm too close to the camera. I don't think I am. But I wanted to do this test before I go live again. I know when I went live on Friday, there was some dropout, some technical issues that was going on, which caused me to start late. And then while we was live, a couple of things was occurring. So I constantly am tweaking, troubleshooting, trying to get the best audio and video quality. So nothing is hindered when we are doing our show. So I'm also going to do, like I said, try to go live tonight and do another show, see how things go so we can get things ready for Friday. All right. So you're saying everything is good. Yeah, I just got this Elgato Wave 3 USB condenser mic. Before that, I had purchased the Yeti, but the Yeti was too tall and cumbersome. So I was like, this is not going to work. That's actually what I used last Friday. This one is much smaller, easier to move around and so forth. So just checking. All right. So those of you on Patreon, you saw the little preview that I released for the Easter Sunday social experiment that we did. Hopefully y'all like that preview. I'm working on the full version. I'm gonna release that out. Again, the purpose of that is just to bring awareness to the discussion. It wasn't designed to be offensive or disrespectful or anything like that. It was just done as a social experiment to see how people would respond, right? I thought it was interesting, everything that occurred, but you gotta wait to see the full video to actually see what happened. And what you think may have happened, you'll be surprised. You'll definitely be surprised, right? So I'm trying not to talk too loud because my son is sleeping right now. I don't want to wake him up. He likes to be close to me when he's sleeping, so I have to be within a certain distance. He has to either hear my voice or be able to see me. He's really, really intelligent. He'll be 4 months next week. Very, very smart, man. Very strong. Very interesting. But we're definitely going to work with that. Turn him into a Geber, a warrior for the Most High. All right. So, all right. So y'all saying everything is good. Audio is good. Video is good. That's great because I put a lot of money into all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still improving. So the background, I'm going to have some items there next week. So not for this Freestyle Friday this week, but Freestyle Friday next week, I should have a setup behind me if all goes well. You know, my bookcase is somewhere else, so I'm gonna shift it behind me so that way we have some better imagery in the back. As you can see, the space that I have here, this is like a den area. It's like an open den area in my house. The other areas was claimed by other members of my household. So I have the den area, but we also have a basement downstairs that I'm working on creating so we have 2 rooms in the basement. One is actually going to be a recording studio. So the green screen that y'all seen behind me, I broke it down and now it's downstairs. We still got to clean it out, the rooms down there. But once we tidy everything up, I'll definitely have the recording studio down there. When I shoot my videos, it'll be down there. And then I have another YouTube channel. Yeah, y'all know about that. I have another YouTube channel and we're going to set up the second room for that YouTube channel. And here, I'm just going to keep it where you see my bookcases behind me and you just see me here. The way the camera's set up, my background is out of focus. I'm primarily in focus and I can just talk to y'all. It's good to look a little homey, a little roomy, you know what I'm saying? But I may put a divider because this space over here, let's see if I'm pointing to it. Right there. That space right there is open. So I'm gonna put a sound divider there and a sound divider on in front of it. So that way I can block out the sound and that way the aesthetic behind me is not broken up by that open space and that door right there. So I'm gonna be making a couple of adjustments because I want it to have that professional look. And that's what I'm aiming for after upgrading all this equipment, because more and more people in different, you know, industries and facets of life are watching this channel, you know, interestingly enough. See, like right now, I don't know. Let me know if the video and audio quality diminishes at any time, because StreamYard, you got a little symbol that lets you know your signal's out of whack. But definitely just let me know. All right, let me know. All right. But I'll be sprucing up the background again so I can have a more professional feel, because I'm getting emails and inbox messaging stuff from people who are watching the show, and people I'm like, oh, I didn't even know this person watched the show. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, I gotta work on making this more professional and meet that content creator YouTube standard, so that way we can draw more of our people in, you know what I'm saying, so they can hear the information and hear the truth. Like I told y'all before, Tuesdays, I'm gonna begin $20 or more tier pledge on Patreon, or which is $40, but you save $20 if you get a $20 tier membership on. Yeah, see, the connection just went out and came back. It's not good at all. All right, there we go. So let me see if quality improves. Somebody says it's skipping. See, it's good to run these tests to get these kinks out. Let me know, is it good now? It's freezing up right now. Let me see on my phone. Yeah, we can't have that. Let me check something out real quick. Is the video still not good? It's good now. Looks good now. Okay. All right. I think I see what the issue is. I think I know exactly what the issue is. But for the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna be here with y'all. Again, just chime in, let me know if the audio and video is okay. But I think I know what the issue is. All right. Also, I'm working on getting another router. So the issue is on your wireless router, there's two frequencies in which data is distributed on, sent and received. You have the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, which other devices run on as well. It has good range, but not a lot of good throughput, or the data being able to be pushed at a higher rate. To and fro, meaning upstream, which is the data that goes from your computer to the internet. Downstreams, the information comes from the internet to your computer, right? So with that 2.4 gigahertz range is good for home I'm but not good for speed, right? Not the best for speed, but decent enough so that way you can run multiple devices. When I do something like this, I'm jumped onto the 5 gigahertz frequency, which is a separate frequency that's less crowded, less traffic on there, and you get much higher throughput, however, at the expense of range, right? In this case, for whatever reason, there's something in my house or close to my house that is causing interference on that 5 gigahertz frequency and causes the router to drop that signal, where you get the dropouts that you just saw just now, right? Which is not good. Nonetheless, I jumped back on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency and everything looks to be okay, right? But I don't want a degradation in video quality going on a 2.4 gigahertz because the throughput is lower and I'm broadcasting at 1080p, right? I would broadcast at 4K if I could, but broadcasting at 1080p. And the reason why I say this is because more and more people are watching YouTube on their TVs, and a lot of people have adopted 4K TVs now. So we'll see what happens. But as long as everything is okay, is good. I just want to test things out. So when I go live officially, we don't have all these kinks interfering with things. You know what I'm saying? They mess with a lot of people's lives. Yeah. So with that being said, because I have this new equipment now, I'm, like I told y'all before, I'm so eager to put content out. There's a lot of things that I want to get out. However, I do want to be consistent on the classes on Tuesdays when they start. They did not start yet. I know people almost every week ask me, are the classes starting this week? Are the classes starting this week? And I'm like, no, I wanted to, but not yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working on that PowerPoint. My schedule every day is extremely busy. I mean, I go to bed at maybe 4 or 5 in the morning and I get up like 7 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And then I try to lay back down and get some more sleep, but my son keeps me up. So I don't really get a lot of sleep. Try to get a nap in during the day if I can. But maybe the past week, I've only been getting maybe 3 hours worth of sleep every day. Right? That's a lot. And I try to maximize the time that I have, working, doing ministry, handling family, and then try to squeeze time in to read, research, and help other people, because I help people every day, right, with some kind of situation, issue, assistance, because that's what ministry is. Ministry is servitude, being a servant. So with that amount of time, and then purchasing equipment recently, tweaking things out, that's where most of my time is gone. And then, this week wasn't too bad, but maybe the past couple of weeks, I get calls from the public, right? Almost every day. And we talking about at least 8 calls per day. Tuesdays and Fridays, I had to block out to my team. Look, I can't take but so many calls during the week, but I used to do 8 calls back to back every day. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be scheduled for 30 minutes. They're typically an hour or more. And those of you who have called and spoke to us, you know what I'm saying? My team and some of you have spoken to me, y'all know, you know what I'm saying? But I try to give my all as much as I can, but I got to slow down and be more consistent with setting a schedule and manage my time better so I can get more sleep, right? I don't like being tired doing my live streams. Because I don't know, I guess the way I'm built, I can perform well even when I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? I've done lectures with like 1 hour of sleep, you know what I'm saying? And you would never know, but after a while, it'll catch up to you. You feel what I'm saying? So I understand that. So again, working on overload, trying to get things managed more, right? Internally at home, externally for y'all, and the work I do in the community. This is why with KHM, we're bringing on more and more people. I thank the Most High that I got 3 more admins. Wonderful. There's so much work that needs to be done, so much assistance that I need. I have a personal assistant, I have executive assistants. Now I'm getting clerical admin or clerical administrators. And then we have our other groups that we operate in the organization. We have our project manager team. We have our Natural Path to Eden team, our Jubilee May Mission team, our security team. We have our Ima Tabat Sphere team. We have our Handmaids of Zion team. Now, I want to point that out. So if anybody's out there that is interested, anybody who does any kind of home care services, if y'all are interested, we have a group called the Handmaids of Zion, where we're looking for people who are in the realm of home care, or sometimes people say home health care as well, which you can do, live-in care, au pair or nanny services or whatever. If there's anybody out there that does any of those services, please email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. We want to add you to our group because we're creating a service down the line. We'll be able to dispense these assistance to those who have a need in the home. I know for me, I'm looking to hire in-house in my own home 2 assistants to help out with chores and other daily duties within the home, right? Because I have a pretty big family now and there's a lot of work to do, right? So I want to be able to also afford the same care and assistance to other people. So we're going to create a service where people pay a subscription fee every month, and we're able to dispense this aid to you to help out in your home, right? So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. And we'll sign you up when we get to that project, right? Because we have a couple more that we have now. Shout out to Leslie Fields. She said she finished all her fresh skills classes. You're like, what is a fresh skill? Well, if you're not part of KHM, you don't know what fresh skills is. You should know. I mentioned it before. So everybody that joins the organization, we put them through a series of 6 courses that they have to take. Some of those courses is time management, conflict resolution, customer service, etc. And the purpose of these trainings, and you get certificates for all these courses that you pass, is so that way there is a high standard in regards to tact and professionalism within our ministry organization, because I realize that a lot of Israelite organizations do not go through standardized training, right, in regards to tact and professionalism. So we decided to do something different, and that's what we're doing at KHM, right? And these classes you get for signing up and joining and becoming a member, right? So thank you for finishing it, Leslie. I know a couple of other people who are watching are members as well. Make sure you'll get to work on your fresh skills classes. Y'all have time to complete it, but it's available. And once you complete those 6 courses, I think there's another 100 that's available for people to take, and you can take those courses at will. Everything is paid for. We cover everything. And these things you get certificates for. You can add them to your resume or whatever the case may be. And that's what we want to do. We want to build up our community, right? And that's why we do what we do. All right. So Scott said he's having another buffering issue. Is anybody else experiencing that, or is that just Scott? Anybody else having any issues? So Brother Aaron the Presby, so I went into the app and deleted it. I have it scheduled for Tuesday because I'm praying to the Most High that I get it done by Tuesday, because I have to do another presentation for KHM members. Y'all saying good? Okay. Lion from Zion say he picked up the ESV, English, Greek, reverse interlinear. That's awesome, my brother. Great. Now, Lion of Zion, are you part of the Patreon? Because if you're not part of the Patreon, you should sign up for the Patreon to take the biblical Greek classes that we have on there, to go along with having that Greek reverse interlinear, because the classes also teaches you how to use that tool and how to maximize that tool by learning some of the mechanics of the grammar, right? So it's there, right? And those are the things that we recommend. So our job is to train you to do the best study possible. That's why our holistic research paradigm exists, because typical Bible studies have the wrong approach. And I know for me coming into, into the church initially, I had a couple of good pastors, that actually showed us how to study the text. And I was already studious myself, but showed us how to really exegete the text, which I appreciated. Even had some seminary type classes that they gave to us, especially those of us who became ministers. They gave us seminary type classes and taught us a lot, which I am grateful for. I didn't go to school, formal school, but I did get informal school training, right? However, I know with me, I want to provide those tools and those resources. So that's what we do. We give you the research methodology step by step. We give you the tools and we give you the sources. And with these things, you can approach any passage and it will come to life. Once you dive into it with these tools, once you dive into it with this method, and once you dive into it with these sources, it's going to bring everything to life. Because I tell people all the time, you need a concrete foundation in order for you to build your spiritual house. If you don't understand the culture in which the spiritual system developed from, the culture in which Yah utilized to bring forth the text, then you're not going to fully understand what's going on unless you look at the text from the eyes of those who would have been the immediate recipients. You will be disconnected. And then what you will have to do is, for the places where there are unknowns, you have to fill in your contemporary theological understanding to try and make sense of something that simply by looking at something cultural can explain. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? So if you understand the architecture of homes, which can be validated through archaeology, you have what's called the 4-room house. And the 4-room house was a staple at Israelite sites. In the 4-room house, you have a center, which we call the living room, and then you would have various rooms, right? Now, in early Israelite history, they had a particular system in which each room was the same size for the children, for the men and the women, right? Women will have the wife or wives will have their own, then the children will have theirs, and then the husband, father will have his. And then what happens is they would have a storage area for grains and so forth. They did not have AC, no AC. Sometimes they didn't even have locks on the door, right? If they can afford a lock, or if they was able to create a lock. So a lot of times it wasn't secured. They didn't have windows like we have today. You know what I'm saying? So again, they were very accustomed to insects, flying and stuff like that. You got to keep this stuff in mind. I know we don't really think about this stuff a lot. And there was a central courtyard where the community, which would be the clan, right, would come and they would congregate and they would build together in that courtyard area. Most things was based on production. So a lot of time was spent making food, right? Either gathering food, preparing food, cooking food, making food, right? Or, working the ground and pulling in the harvest, whether it's barley, wheat, whether it's the fruits from the vines, the olives, pomegranates, then they would have pistachios and almonds that they would get as well. So you have to think about this, right? And if you understand what they did day to day, because the text was written by priestly scribes. These scribes did not live like the average person, right? These scribes were literate, and these scribes were in environments where they had to enjoy the luxuries of that time. But most people, common folk, did not have access to those luxuries, okay? All of that affects what we read in the text. And you're going to say, well, why does it affect what we read in the text? Because if you don't understand the lifestyle, then when you, like I said, when you come across something, you're going to read it and say, oh, and you're going to read into it. That's eisegesis. You're going to read into it your own contemporary understanding. because you lack the understanding of what would have been understood by the recipient audience, right? So this is why it's important. So Mother Query, we're going to help you with that. All right. We have an admin that's being trained to assist with One Church, Fresh Skills, and Patreon. So that way they will give you a call very soon. Or me and the admin will call you very soon and get that working for you. Okay. Because I do want you to take advantage of that, because you are extremely persistent on your pursuit of knowledge. And I'm floored by that and inspired. Right. I want to be able to maintain that as I get older myself. All right. So John Williams, are you speaking in the third person? Thinks you are making a great point. Sounds like you're speaking in third person. So let me give you guys a quick example real quick, and I'm going to jump off of here of why you need to understand culture. Matter of fact, let me do this, right? How about y'all give me a passage? One of y'all give me a passage out there so I can point some things out and you can see what I'm talking about. And then I got to jump off of here. All right. Let me know. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to pick a passage. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Let me see. Or y'all can just throw a passage out there, and we'll build on it. Black Ave, I'll definitely check it out. Shout out. Let me give some shout outs, man. Even though this is the test, because after this session is over, it's going unlisted, so only the people in here will be able to see this session. Okay. Shout out to Gabrielle, Tyreek Pittman, Deshaun Calvin, Lisa Anderson, Jetson Silencio, Roan K, to Daria Halliburton, Ezra, Jay Lockhart, 25, Scott Garrett Headley, Oriyahu Ben Shem, Shalom King, The Village Faction, Shalom, Vina, Hoshea, Yahawada, who else is on? Don Williams, Tawam May Gaddy. Hopefully I'm saying that right. My brother Alexander McCaskill, Jesus is Lord, saying free Chauvin. What? You'll see this? You see this nonsense? You see that? Shout out to brother Aaron the Presby, Andrea Gilbert, Black Ave Shalom, Roger Washington, Darlene Banks Shalom. Let me see. Son of Yadre, Shalom King, Yah's Assembly, Shalom, Yah Spear, Emmanuel, Shalom, Bevy Bev. So Bevy Bev asked about the classes. So if you sign up for the Patreon at the $20 tier, you get access to the classes. You also get access to other stuff like the language courses and everything like that. But you get access to classes. If somebody does not want to join the Patreon, but they just want the classes is $40 a la carte, right? So you'll be paying $40 every month that you want to stay signed up for the classes. We try to do 4 classes every month. We try to do it every Tuesday, 4 classes every month. All right. So that's why I was saying it's more beneficial to sign up for the Patreon, because not only you get access to the classes, you also get access to a ton of other resources that's on the Patreon. All right. Shout out to EP, Stephen, Mikhail, Key, Restore Holistic Herbal Wellness, Sister Shamira, Leslie Fields, Shalom, Slowful of God. I pray everything's okay on your end, Ak. Hold on one second. That's my son. All right. Shout out to Randall Hall II, Yapa Kalaya, Kimberly M. It's just a conversation. Vernon Mickey, Shalom. Darlene Banks, Roger Washington. Jack L. Black, Shalom. Sean Gardner, Shalom. Amos, Shalom. I think that's it. All right. So that's what I was saying about the Patreon, as far as sign up for the Patreon to get the resources as well as access to the class. Zeph says, can I change my Patreon status to member within the Patreon platform? When you say member, what do you mean by that, Zeph? What do you mean by that? Let me know. Shout out to Ernest Higgs in the building. Thank you so much, Darlene. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'll do a few more with my family going forward. As you can see, I have one member right here with me right now. Let me see if he wants to say hi. You want to say hi? Say hi. Say shalom. Say kwam yasharala. Kum Yisrael. You don't want to say it? Looking serious. You looking at the comments, see what they're saying. Shout out to Frontline June in the building. Makah Elohim, Shalom. Vanessa Landis, Shalom. My brother Shema, he said, did you see my comment? No, I didn't see it, King. Post it again. Post it again. Yeah, man. Y'all seen him when he was a baby, right? He's going to be 4 months next week. Yeah. Yeah, look at him. He got his grandpa pants on. See that? That's the grandpa pants. This is a little grown man. You see that? Every time he come on here, people forget about Divine. It's okay. I don't mind sharing the spotlight with him. I like to just sit him here with me when I'm studying, when I'm watching videos and stuff. And he's just very alert, and he just watches the screen and just listens, you know, unless he's hungry. And then he'll throw a little fit if he's hungry. So don't forget, y'all, don't get distracted. Send me a scripture. Let's address it real quick because I have a meeting at 6 o'clock. You're going to get me in trouble if I don't get on this meeting. All right. Shout out to Sister Asantawa, daughter of Zion. Shalom. So he's going to be 4 months. So 3 to 6 is the next size up. So he's out of the 0 to 3. He's on the 3 to 6 now. All right. As you can see, he's just sitting here, just patiently, just looking at the screen, listening to me speak. I don't know. I guess he likes this. Wide Awake says, do you sleep? No, I don't. But I'm working on that. I mentioned earlier that I only got, maybe for this past week, maybe 3 hours of sleep the most, if that, every day. But I'm working on that. And again, it's a sacrifice, a temporal sacrifice for a long-term benefit, you know. And again, I'm working as hard as I can with the KHM, as well as partnerships up with other groups and organizations. That's why I said, you know, this upcoming month of May, I'm also working on my dissertation that needs to be submitted by June so I can get my degree, y'all willing. All right. That's going to be interesting. I'm also freshening up on some language courses, some intermediate to advanced language courses that I'll be taking next month. And then in June, I'll be taking some advanced language courses. That's going to kick my butt. That's going to take some time. I'm probably not going to finish them until maybe the end of the year, but I'm going to start in June. All right. And then whatever I learn, whatever I get access to, I definitely will bring it back to y'all. Okay. So Love Hard, Fight Harder says, does the gospel message need exegesis from a cultural perspective? Yes. Just looking because, so my house is on an incline. So I have like eagle vision. I can see everything. So I have a window right here. So I can see when deliveries pull up, or if somebody walks by my house, or if a car pulls in. So a car had to pull in to make a turnout. So I'm just looking, just making sure, you know, I got to protect my castle. You feel me? Don't know if you got to go and grab the heat for something. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on point at all times. You know, not that I live in a bad neighborhood. I live in a really nice neighborhood. So the likelihood of that happening is slim, but anything can happen. You got to protect your home, and that is scriptural. All right. But yes, definitely. Thank you, Sister Santua. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So wonderful. So, can you put more seasoning on Passover lamb besides salt? Yes, there's no prohibitions against seasoning your lamb for Passover. None. Ruach and Hamashiach moving to GA. Oh, you are? Okay, cool. Well, if you're moving to GA, you have two options. You want to reach me. You can email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com and scroll across the screen, or you can call us at 678-430-3832, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and schedule an appointment. All right. So he's funny. So if I lay him down and he wakes up and he doesn't see me, he'll make noises like he did. I go to get him just so he can sit on my lap and fall asleep as I'm talking. Hopefully that means he just wants to soak up this knowledge. Frontline Judah says, Divine, was it Christ Jesus that was in the garden with Adam and Eve? No, it was not. It was not. Oriyahu Facts. Shout out to Shakar Yaraya in the building. Shalom. Let's see. Y'all are not asking me. You're not giving me no scriptures, man. So it looks like I'm going to bounce. So y'all not giving me no scriptures, man. So Raphael said, is there a map of congregations that you guys recommend or fellowship throughout the states? Yes, there's a couple of recommendations I can make depending upon your location and where you live. You just have to email us and we can send you a recommendation. We don't have a map, but I know at KHM in Q4, we're going to be starting our fellowships, physical fellowship, which is like congregations we're going to create in the fall, late fall. All right. Q3 is the last 3 months of the year. So we'll have those available, y'all. When we're going to start our first one down here in Atlanta. Yes, I got your information on the presentation, Shema. I got that. I have to look it over. Raphael, you said Cincinnati. I don't know. I know there's some out there, but none that I would recommend yet. So Sister Ya Asantawa, yes, we will be doing a children's Bible study. That will be separate from the one that I'm doing with the adults, but we will. So right now we're in the process of creating the app. And you're one of the project managers, so you know about the app. And the app will be for children, and that will be their Bible study, because that way is visually and audibly engaging them. Adults can read a book, or listen to a podcast or something like this, but kids need to be engaged, right? So that's why we're creating the app, and the app is to cover that, all right? As Rock said, Proverbs 29:18. What's that? Let's see. Where there's no vision, the people cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not sure about that. Love hard, fight harder. I answered your question. You said, why does the gospel need exegesis from a cultural perspective? Because without the cultural perspective, you're not going to know what the gospel is. I give you an example. Love hard, fight harder. Get Isaiah chapter 52 and let me know if that's the gospel. Read Isaiah 52 and let me know if that's the gospel, right? It's just a conversation brought up 52 and 10. All right. Look at Bev. Bev is like keeping me on track. Said 552 Divine. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So you said, was you trying to help me with that? It's just a conversation. Or was that one of the requests? Let me see. I'm trying to see which one is the best example for why you need to understand either language, culture, or history to get an idea of what's going on. Let me see. This is a good one. Shall see the salvation. So here it says, Yah has bared his holy arm. That's a good one right there. That's a good one. So bear his holy arm, right? So the scripture says, Hasap Yahweh et Zeroah Kedeso. So when you say made bare your arm, what does that mean? That is an idiom. That's a linguistic idiom. Well, all idioms are linguistic, but that's an idiom that if you don't understand the culture, you don't know what that means. So then you would have to look at the text and investigate and see what does that mean. And if you don't know, then it's okay. How can I discover the meaning of bear his arm? Okay. Now you have the word there, Yesuat, which means salvation. Okay. Now it's in the construct state. Yeshuat Eloheinu, right? The salvation of our God. Anytime something's in the what we call the construct state, it's dependent upon a genitive, and in this case, it's Elohe. But in this case, Eloheinu, the new suffix is masculine plural, masculine common plural, first person masculine common plural, excuse me, which means our God. So Yesuat Eloheinu, the salvation of our God. So bearing the holy arm means what? What does it mean when you bear arms? Now, it's interesting because that idiom actually is something that was used in the Constitution. You have the right to bear arms. What does bear arms mean? What is bear arms? Lin says, do you keep the law by faith or works? Both. Both of them. All right. Oh, you okay? Pop. Yeah. I know you're tired. I would lay you down, but it seems like you want to be here. All right. So I would just ask about John 1. So John 1:1 says, NRK en ho logos, kai ho logos, en proston, theon kai theos, en ho logos. So yes, you do have the definite article there. Ho is the definite article. So you do have the definite article. And it's a masculine singular noun. All right. So yes, it's there. If that's the question you're asking me. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna lay him down. So Lin, I always give this as an example. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. The Most High has an expectation of us to keep the statute, laws, and commandments while we are in captivity. Now that's interesting because then you got to go back and re-examine to see what can be kept in captivity and what can't be kept in captivity. Right? Historically, you have feast days kept outside the land. And we get that in the Elephantine Papyrus and what's called the Passover letter. And we also get that in the book of Tobit, where it was being kept in Assyrian captivity. Right. So So it was kept outside the land while in captivity. Okay. So there are things that the Most High expects of us. So what we're doing is we're creating a building blocks course where we're going to go through each one of the statute, laws, and commandments, and we're going to properly exegete it or perform midrash on it and let you know if it can be literally applied today or principally applied. Okay. And what sources can be used to verify and validate that. All right. So we can walk you through each one. So again, in Deuteronomy chapter 30 as well, the scripture is very clear. It says two things. I'm going to read that real quick and then I'm going to hop off. All right. So it says very clear. And when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I've set before you, and you call to mind among all the nations where the Most High your power has driven you. So you're going to recall these things to mind while in exile, and return to the Most High your power, you and your children, and obey his voice. What? In all that I command you today. Now this goes back to Deuteronomy 28, 29, when they entered the covenant, and now 30, which is a reaffirming of that. It says, then the Most High your power will restore your fortunes and have mercy on you and will gather you again from all the peoples where he has scattered you. So the only way to be regathered is by obeying his voice in all that he has commanded them, which is contained the statute, laws, and commandments that was reaffirmed in the book of Devarim or Deuteronomy. And then if you obey them, there are benefits or what we call blessings. If you disobey them, there are curses or what's called consequences. Right. So the expectation is that we call these things to mind while in captivity, return to him and obey his voice. So if you're reading that, how do you properly exegete that? How do you properly exegete that? All right. So love hard, fight harder. I know that's probably what your position is. However, I asked you to read Isaiah 52. You said, I don't understand how Isaiah 52 relates to the gospel message. So let me show you something real quick, right? Okay, maybe I should save this for later on tonight. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. All right, I'm gonna do this. If we open up the passage to, let's say, I think this, let me see if this is the best example. Let's go to Mark chapter 1, verse 14. Okay, I think this is a great example. Let's go to Mark chapter 1, verse 14. I want to show you something. I'm going to share my screen and then I'm out of here. My meeting, I'm already over time for my meeting, right? Let me show you something. And again, this goes in concordance of what I'm trying to share. And my son just looking at me, is watching me teach. You a good Talmudim? A good student? Well, that's plural, but Talmud, you get a little Talmud over here. That means student. And then a play of that word is where you get Talmud, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go to Mark chapter 1, verse 14. I'm going to show you this very simply, right? Shout out to Mike in the building. Amen Ministries, Inc. That used to be my Sunday school teacher when I was young, man. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. Shout out to Amen Ministries, Inc. in the building. That's Elder Mike. That's my good brother and friend right there. And also that was one of my Sunday school teachers when I was much younger, when I was at like my late teens, early 20s. That was my Sunday school teacher. It's really, really funny. But anyway, so if you're looking at this passage, Mark chapter 1, verse 14, I'm gonna show you. Okay. Love hard, fight harder. If you was around during this period of time and you were contemporary to these events, if Mark chapter 1, verse 14 was said to you, please tell us the pretext. Please tell us how you would interpret that if you live contemporary to Yeshua saying that to you at that time. Shout out to Maccabees TV in the building, the good elder and good brother of mine, Priest Danya Allah in the building. Shalom. Shout out to Israelite Elect Nazarite Order. So I need this answered and I got to jump off. All right. Sister V Love, you're absolutely correct. All right. To bear an arm means in that time, bear arm is to draw a sword. Today is to pull a gun. Okay. So love hard, fight harder. Please answer that question. Mark chapter 1, verse 14. If Yeshua was alive and he said this to you, how would you interpret that? You listening? He just looking at me, soaking up everything. All praise to the Most High. So please answer that question so I can get off. All right. If Yeshua was around and you was around him and he said this to you contemporaneously, how would you interpret that? That's why I gave you Isaiah chapter 52. You said you don't understand because Isaiah 52 is where you have the word gospel. So if he said to you, the time is fulfilled and the kingdom of God is at hand. Oh, shit. Battery exhausted. Oh, man. Oh, shit. No, you're not going to do me like this. I forgot what's running off the battery. Hold on. You back in the game. Oh, thought I was gone. I'm back. Why is this thing moving? I have a cup here and it just moved. I don't know what's going on here. That's that Christian magic. Y'all stop with that Christian magic, please. Right, Shemayahu? He got my back. All right. So I'm still not getting an answer. I can only interpret it with the understanding I have now. And that is the problem. That's the problem. You see, because in order for you to interpret it with the understanding you have now, you have to use what's called presuppositions to interpret it. This is why we have the KHM Holistic Research Paradigm for Bible Study. We teach you how to holistically study the text within its native historical, linguistic, and cultural context so you can understand it as if you was a recipient of the text at the time it was written or the time that the events occurred. You have to have a lot of background knowledge of what's going on in order to understand what's being said. That's one of the rules of hermeneutics. All right. You have to understand what the immediate audience would have understood because some things are inferred and not explicitly stated. But if you understood the context, the background context, you would understand. Right. Shout out to Brianna Oli. She said Christian magic. Yes, we talked about that on the last live stream. All right. What prayers are, what spells are. There was Christian spells. The Coptic Christians are the ones that started that, and it infused into Christianity. And a lot of people started to adopt that methodology of Christian magic. Yes, it exists. There's actually several books. I revealed 3 books on it, and I have one of those books on the Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/DivineProspect, which you'll see in the thing going across the screen. All right. So you can read up on Christian magic. It exists. Right. And people do it all the time. I even gave stories of encounters I've had with apostles and prophets who performed it. And I didn't know nothing about it until I started reading material on Christian magic. It's really crazy. Shout out to my good sister, Nachia Kaysen in the building. Much love to you, sister. That sister works hard and is extremely diligent admin of KHM, and I appreciate her. All right. Shout out to Janelle. Guess that means I would have strapped up. That's funny. Yes, Darlene, you got it. Y'all funny. All right. Shout out to Dero Yahoo Bendora in the building. Shalom. What is presupposed about what Jesus did for humanity? What's presupposed is that somebody taught you how to interpret that. That's the presupposition. Right? You was predisposed on how to interpret what the text is conveying. You was. And you got to flush that in order to start from scratch. All right. Shout out to Cheryl in the building. Shalom. So again, love hard and fight harder. If you can only interpret this based on your presuppositions that you have today and how you're predisposed today, then you are studying the text incorrectly. That's all I have to say. You're studying it incorrectly. And that's the problem, right? You can't just jump into the New Testament with your contemporary understanding and start interpreting things, right? Without reading the background context. You don't do that with a book or a movie. If there's a movie you want to see, you don't fast forward it all the way to the last 30 minutes and say, okay, I'm gonna watch it from here. That's a waste of time. You have so much background you're missing, you know? And so love hard, fight hard. So did Jesus die for humanity? No, he did not die for humanity. He did not die for humanity. And the text doesn't teach that. They don't be like, what divine? The text does not teach that Yeshua died for humanity. He was martyred so that Israel could be regathered, and that in his absence, he can send the Parakletos, which is the Ruach or the Spirit, to empower his disciples or followers to perform greater works than he did, and to spread this good news of this gospel to the four corners of the earth, so that it may reach the Israelites that were in exile. And by proxy of Israelites who rejected, it opens the door for a cleaving Gentile to come in. That's what the text teaches. That's what it teaches. It doesn't say he died for humanity. It's not there. So let me give you a last thing. And I'm sorry to the person I'm supposed to be having a meeting with today. They're going to get mad. Like, where you was at, Divine? I'm going to give you a last thing right now. While we're talking, I'm monitoring my router. Right? And I see that the RAM is being congested. And that could probably be an option why that 5 gigahertz is going off. But anyway, so let me give you an example, right? Since we're still in the text, let me show you two things, right? Let's go to John chapter 3, since people like to use this all the time. All right, verse 16. For God so loved the world, and you see this. This is why I tell you guys to get a critical edition Bible, because a critical edition Bible will have these little symbols here, which leads you to a footnote. All right. And it says, or for this is how God loved the world, right? It's another variant of that same text, but I'm going to show you something. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. Now, when it comes to studying words, there are a lot of interesting things, right? This word here is cosmos, right? Cosmos is the word for cosmos. We get cosmos, cosmetics, and stuff like that. And it literally just means an arraignment, right? It means something that is organized, right? It is a fallacy to assume that the usage of a word in one passage will always be that same usage of the word elsewhere. And this is why, again, this type of studying, this in-depth studying is important, because I'm going to show you a conflict with that. If it says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life, then it goes on to say, for God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. Now that's important, right? But let's see what Yeshua says when he's actually praying. Because did he pray for the world? Why is he not praying for the world so that they will believe in him? He's not praying for the world. So if that's the case, then we have to go back and look to see how this is being interpreted. Hi, it's okay. It is okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm right here. Okay. I'm not going nowhere. I'm right here. All right. So let's get into where he says, I do not pray for the world, because if he's saying that he has not prayed for the world, or that the world hates them, or something along those lines, then we got to go back and look at John chapter 3, because again, I teach all the time, in order to understand a passage, stay within the same book to see what else the author says using that word or using a particular theme that they're speaking on. Okay. In this case, the word and theme is the world. That is interesting, because when we read his prayer, he says, I have manifested your name to the people whom you gave me out of the world. But why would you do that if you died for all humanity? He didn't die for all humanity. Yours they were, and you gave them to me, and they have kept your word. Now they know that everything that you have given me is from you, for I have given them the words that you gave me. He says, I am praying for them. I am not praying for the world, but for those whom you gave me. That means he's not praying for the world. Why? Because if you keep going on, he says, I've given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, just as I'm not of the world. I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. That is important. He says, and you sent me into the world, so I have sent them into the world. And for their sake, I have concentrated myself, that they may be sanctified in truth. So now we see a juxtaposition between those who are elected and those who are part of the world. He did not die for all humanity. Okay. He was martyred. A martyr always knows that what they're doing, the actions that they're performing, is going to lead to their demise. And this is what Yeshua did. But his demise was something that was predestined from the Most High. Okay. And he expressed that. So through his demise, the objective is to regather the lost sheep of Israel. Now, if you understand that patches for world in John 3 and think it means the same thing here, you got a problem. You got a problem. However, if you understand that there is a semantic range and the value of the word world, and that the semantic range is expressed when we get to different chapters of the text, and we're only talking about within the same book, then you'll be able to understand what's going on. If you do not understand that, it will be very problematic in your exegesis. Do you understand? This is important. And I'm not saying this so that he died so the Jews can be regathered for what? What? So the Jews could be regathered. I don't understand what you meant by that. Raphael, what Bible did Divine just recommend? What you mean? Did I say a Bible? I said a critical edition Bible. That's what I mean. Critical edition Bible is a Bible that gives you footnotes, bibliography, maybe some other interjections in the form of breakout information or whatever the case may be. Come here, I got you. That's what I was talking about, critical edition Bible. So there's several critical edition Bibles. It's not one particular Bible, but the one I always recommend on here is the Cultural Background Study Bible. And when I did my Sabbath message, I showed it to you so you can see what it looks like. There's also a link to it in the description of that video. Okay. So I'm saying this to get you to understand that looking at the word world and looking at what it, now mind you, I'm just touching the surface in English, but if we go into Greek, it's very interesting when we go into the Greek grammar of it. And I could probably do that another time because I'm about to jump off of here. But the point I'm trying to make at the end of the day is that if the way you interpret in the text is based on your presuppositions that you develop now, and that is the means in which you're interpreting the text, then you have a problem. You have a problem. You have to interpret it at the time in which it was transmitted, and then make what's called a bijection or a one-to-one correspondence between elements of the past and elements of the present. And if you don't understand culture, you're not going to understand prophecy. I say that all the time. If you're devoid of understanding the culture, you're not going to understand prophecy. All right. So when somebody says there's a creature that looks like, you know, a head of a lion, a head of this and head of that, you got to understand what these animals represented by understanding what's called the fauna that existed during that time. There's a good book that goes into the flora and fauna of the Bible. Okay. I actually posted one of those on the Patreon as well. And if you don't understand the flora and the fauna of the Bible, then again, you're going to misinterpret prophecy. This is why I try to give people a cultural foundation. So that way from there, everything else will make sense. It is the missing link. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go, y'all. Dream Sky Lover said we can't see the baby. You see, y'all don't care nothing about what's being. As soon as I have him or I show him, everything else goes out the window. All right, I'm going to show you him one more time before I get off. Thank you, Slowfo, for sharing the link to the Bible. And you can also purchase it on Kindle, which I have. All right, for $14.99. All right. You see? Now, what I'm going to do, or what y'all can do next time I go live, bring up some prophecies. And I'm going to show you how, when you don't understand culture, how you misinterpret the prophecy. All right. Give me some prophecies when I go live. I'm trying to go live tonight. Pray my strength that I stay awake. You okay? You all right? Asantua said nap time. Well, he was trying to nap a few times, and I guess he just woke up. He heard that I was teaching, and he's like, "Oh, let me go see what Daddy's teaching." He just wants to be around me. It's just, I don't know. So bring up a prophecy, and I will show you how if you don't understand culture, it won't make sense. Just like I gave you Mark chapter 1, verse 14. And Mark 1:14 is a prime example of why, when I say Isaiah 52, there was a disconnect, right? And then I asked, If Yeshua said that to you, because he wasn't saying it to people who wouldn't have not understood what he said. They knew what he was talking about. It wasn't a mystery. They understood what he was talking about. He's just affirming that, look, the kingdom is coming. That means it was already being preached. That means that message was already out there. It's nothing new. You understand? But again, if you don't understand it, if you say, oh, I got to wait to the end of it to understand it, then that's not true. Because he's saying the scriptures were speaking about him. That means you got to go back to all the messianic prophecies and understand what is being talked about. I could see if the answer from you, love hard, fight harder. I think that's your name. I could see if you said, oh yeah, well, if you go look in Isaiah chapter 9, that's a messianic prophecy. If you go to what's called the proto-evangelion, or the first gospel in Genesis 3:15, that could be what he was talking about. And I guess if you made references to the Old Testament to say, look, this is how I would interpret what he would have said. Yes, because there wasn't the extended revelation that we get in the rest of the passages of the New Testament, but he wasn't speaking to an audience that did not know what he was talking about. Matter of fact, last verse, I'm sorry, and I'm out. I know I'm going to get crucified after I'm done with this by the person I had the meeting with. I'm just going to blame it on y'all. But let me give you the last one. Let's go back to John chapter 3. So check this out. You have something to say, sir? You want to express something to the people? Let's go back to John chapter 3. Okay, John chapter 3. All right. John chapter 3. You remember when you read, oh yeah, John 3:16. But let's look at something very interesting. Let's go to verse 9. After he talks about you cannot enter the kingdom unless you're born of water and spirit, right? But let's go to verse 9. Everybody misses verse 9. It's very obvious. Verse 9 says, Nicodemus said to him, how can these things be? Yeshua answered him, are you the teacher of Israel, and yet you do not understand these things? That's like me going to a blacksmith, right? And I'm telling him something about alloys, mixing certain metals and so forth. And he's not understanding. I'm like, aren't you a blacksmith by trade and you don't know nothing about alloys? That means there's an expectation that you should have previous knowledge in order to interpret what's being said. You see? Right? We're still in the book. We didn't leave the book of John yet. I'm not jumping over here into Paul and jumping over here. I'm staying right in the book of John to make a point. Do you understand? Or at least are you getting what I'm saying? So this is extremely, extremely important. All right. Moshe says, lay him down, come back on and build. I can't do that right now because I have 2 meetings. And once those meetings are done, my other children will be home and I stay with them until it's time for them to go to bed. I ask them about school. I make sure they fed. I make sure they're washed up. All right. I make sure that I tuck them in. You know what I'm saying? So I spend time with my children. Right. To me, that's extremely important because family is your first ministry. So if there's a need in my home, I have to attend to it first because that's what Yah is looking at. And then through my due diligence of taking care of my family, then I am qualified to help take care of others. Right. But this is my priority. Right. So I just got to let y'all know. So me and his mom. Right. We take turns doing different things with the children. She's going to go grab the other children and bring them home. So I have some time now with him and also with other meetings that I have to perform. So I can't just put him down and come back. I'm going to keep him with me because I want him to actually be exposed to what is being said. So that way, as he gets older, he would be raised in this and he don't have to be taught it. Right. So anyway, so like I said, I'm gonna keep this video up. It's gonna be unlisted though. So only those ones here who are on here, you'll be able to go back and review it. But anybody else new won't be able to see the video, right? You want to see? Right. So all I'm trying to express is very simply why these classes are important is because we're going to give you all that context. So when you get to something like this and say, wait, how could Yeshua expect Nicodemus to know what he's talking about? Well, all you got to do is read the Tanakh. The answer is there. All you got to do is understand what's called the intertestamental period and the writings of that time. And you can see the development of what he's talking about. Spirit and water is not something that needs to be theologically interpreted based on your understanding of the New Testament. No. It's before he was even born. Do you understand? That's the key. And if you don't understand it, you cannot follow the narrative the way it was intended to be received. So we give you things holistically. We get you to look at these things, what we call motifs or theme throughout the text. And the theme here he's talking about is spirit and water. Can we find any reference to spirit and water within the Tanakh, within the intertestamental period, within any sister text? Like sister text would be the Targums. Can we find something mentioned in there in the Targums? Because Targums helped you interpret Revelation chapter 12. It's very good for that. Can we find something else in the culture that would have been understood at that time about spirit and water and what that would have meant? Can we look at these words, spirit and water, in a Septuagint, and then see where it lines up in the Tanakh as it was translated? So these classes, this is what it teaches. All right. It teaches this. And when you have this methodology, then things will become much more clearer. All right. And you won't sound like you're a drone just repeating what you've been programmed to say. You're able to think independently and be able to verify and validate the foundation that you stand on. All right. All right. So yes, Jacko. That's where a lot of my time goes. That's why I'm not available a lot on the weekends, because they're here with me and I spend my time with them, because anything can happen to me. And the thing that I want to hear from my child, if anything ever happens to me, is my dad spent time with me. My dad held me. My dad talked to me. My dad disciplined me. My dad showered me with love. He spoiled me. My dad taught me. That would make me the happiest thing. If anything happens to me, that when somebody asks my child about my dad, my dad was too busy for me. I never saw my dad. I never got time to spend time with my dad. I never, ever want to go to the grave with one of my children saying something like that. I never wanted to, because I know what that feels like, right? So that's why I spend a lot of time with them. That's why some of y'all say, oh, why you can't start earlier with your Freestyle Friday? Because I got my kids. They know it's Friday night, and they know when it's Friday night. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? And that's when they turn up the most. So that's why I give myself enough time, buffer time, to get them together, to get set up and to go live, right? But like I said to y'all earlier, and I share this with y'all personally, that we're getting in-home assistance. So that way I'll be able to push the time up to maybe 9 o'clock for Freestyle Friday, 9 o'clock for the classes instead of 10 o'clock. I'll be able to produce more content on this channel. So I'm making changes with the ministry and with home, so that way I can better accommodate the viewers of this channel, right? Because y'all support this channel by sharing the video, providing super chat, and asking questions and contributing. Okay. It's okay. All right. So I'm gonna sign off, y'all. Let me cater to him real quick. I'm gonna sign off, and I'm gonna try to go live again tonight. So check the channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for all, to make sure you get all the notifications. So when we go live next, and we'll go further into this. All right. All right. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, family. Peace and shalom. It's okay, Papa. I got you.